Today I will be talking about 4 very popular store credit cards. 3 out of these 4 stores have major credit card versions, Visa and MasterCard, and they have fairly easy credit approval. So if you've been working on building up your credit score and you're doing pretty well now, you're out of the bad credit score range and you're getting to a solid, fair situation, then these 4 credit cards you can potentially get approved for. And the interesting thing is that I have 3 out of these 4. So this video is good for people even if they still have bad credit, because it's good to know what's out there and how to plan for your future. And if you have good to excellent credit, you can also get these credit cards very, very easily. So in this video, I will detail my own personal story on how I was able to get 3 out of these 4 great store cards. And just understanding where I was with my credit history will give you a really good idea if you're able to get these cards yourself. And at the end of the video, I will be talking about whether or not I think it's still easy enough to get approved for these cards, because a lot has changed in 2020, and with a lot of banks and credit card companies, it's proving more difficult to get approved for credit. So I'm going to be talking about that. Now, you can ask me questions like as if we were actually talking, but if you have questions about any of these store card offers, make sure you leave your questions below in the comment section. Also, for any of these credit cards, if you have them too and you have a story on how you were able to successfully get approved for one of these store credit cards, make sure you leave your story in the comment section below. The really good news about every one of these store cards, there are no annual fees. I said that I'm talking about 4 credit cards today, 3 out of the 4 I actually have, but I'd like to start out and mention the one that I don't have, but I think is really good. And I know for a fact that many people can get approved for this store credit card. And it is the Walmart MasterCard and Walmart store card. It is now issued by Capital One. So even if you don't get the MasterCard, you have a good likelihood that you can get approved for the Walmart store card. These are 2 credit cards that are known to have easy credit approval. If you don't have a credit score high enough to get the Walmart MasterCard, there's a good chance you can get the Walmart store card. These cards are now issued by Capital One, and they have shown to still have easy credit approval. Okay, so if by the end of this video, if you feel that you still do not have a credit score high enough to get approved for one of these store credit cards, make sure you check out my shopping cart trick tutorial video, which is a video in which I show you how you can get approved for certain store credit cards even if you have less than perfect credit history. And these cards have no annual fee, and they also will not have a hard credit inquiry appear on your credit report if you do it correctly and follow my tips. So if you're interested in that, you can find the link to that video below or right up here. Right now I'm going to tell you a basic strategy I have whenever I apply for credit cards. Right now I have not applied for any new credit card in over a year. But typically what I do when I decide I want a credit card, I decide I want more than one. For some reason, at least in my opinion, I think if you apply for the credit card you want all in one day, you have a better chance of getting approved for either all of them or most of them. And typically I'll do 3 or 4 in one day, and then I'll see what I can get approved for. And that's kind of what I did in my story today with the store credit card. I applied for the 3 cards in a very close amount of time, and I'm going to explain exactly how I did that. I'm also getting more personal in this video, talking about how my credit was at the time when I applied for these 3 cards. I'm doing that so it gives you a better sense of whether you're going to have success in getting a credit approval for any of these cards. And I'm even going to be talking about credit limits, which I have from time to time, but if you've watched my videos before, I rarely talk about it. But to give you guys a better idea of whether you can get these cards, I'm going to be very honest and tell you how everything was when I applied for these cards. Also, I don't have any possible idea. I've never done a video like this. I don't even know if you like this kind of video. So if you do, make sure you hit that like button. And if you don't like it, don't let me know by hitting that other button. Just pretend you never saw this video. So to give context to this video, I'm going to talk about how my credit was many years ago, why I had to rebuild my credit. I've talked about it a few times before, and basically what happened was that I bought a home, and it was during the time of the housing crisis, and slowly over time I did lose my home, and after that my credit was pretty much destroyed. For 5 years I didn't have any credit cards at all, even though I've been marketing credit cards, talking about them since 2002. I didn't have a credit card for 5 years. Then one day I received a letter for the Capital One Platinum card for a pre-approval. I thought I had nothing to lose. They were not going to charge me an annual fee, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Sure enough, I applied for it. I got approved. A few months later, I was able to product change that to the Capital One Quicksilver card, which earned 1.5% cash back. That is a credit card that has no annual fee, so that was great. After 6 months, 2 things happened. Capital One increased my credit line by $2,000. So I started out with a $300 credit line, which many people do. And then that was upped another $2,000. So I then had a $2,300 line of credit. At that 6-month point, I got pre-approval offers from 2 other credit cards. The second one was for another Capital One credit card. It was for the Capital One Buy Power card, and I filled out that one. And again, I got approved. I got a $300 line of credit, and after 6 months, they upped it to $500, but it was an extra $200, so they increased my credit score, my credit line. And then I applied for the Bank of Omaha card, and it was basically a card for fair credit, and I got approved for that, and I had a $500 line of credit. So now you can see I have 3 lines of active credit, and what I did with each of those credit cards is that I never used more than 20% of my credit line, and every month I paid the balances in full. I charged something and paid the balances in full. So this was really good for building credit, and it helped increase my credit score. So I started all of this in January with Capital One Platinum card, and now 1 year later, almost 1 year later, it's December, and I have those 3 credit cards that I got approved for. So I have the $2,300 line of credit with Capital One, the $500 line for the Capital One Buy Power, and the $500 line of credit for the Bank of Omaha credit card. So right now, at this point in December, I have a total credit line of $3,300, which I always used responsibly and paid the balances in full each and every month. Okay, so now it's 1 year later, and I've got these 3 wonderful lines of credit, these major credit cards, and I have some established credit. So now I'm looking to get more credit cards. So I decided that I wanted to get the Best Buy Visa card because I needed a new laptop. And then while I was doing that, I decided I wanted to apply for the Target REDcard. I wanted to apply for both credit cards on the same night. I drove to Best Buy and then I drove to Target. So when I applied for the Best Buy Visa card, I didn't know whether I would get approved for the Visa card or just that store card. And what happened was I got approved for the Best Buy Visa card, and they gave me a $2,000 line of credit. Pretty nice, right? Then after that, I drove over to Target and I applied for the Target REDcard. This is not the Target MasterCard, which I actually have now. That's something that they offer people from time to time. There's certain periods of time they'll send a letter and you can upgrade and get the MasterCard. But if you're just applying for the Target REDcard, it's store card only, whether you go in the store or online. So I drove over to the store and I applied for the Target REDcard, and I got approved for $3,000. Even better than that $2,000. Pretty amazing. Then that's where I thought I would just quit, and that's when I thought it would be all over. What ended up happening was I needed to make a purchase on Amazon.com for over $100, and when I went online and I selected what I needed to buy and I went to the checkout, they offered me to apply for their Amazon Visa card. And normally I really wouldn't have done it, but I figured, well, I applied for these two other cards. So I wasn't sure or not. I'm still kind of in the fair credit range area. And sure enough, I filled it out, I got approved, and I got approved for $2,000. Now I have not only the $3,300 lines of credit from those three other credit cards, I have these three new credit cards, which is adding $7,000. So this is, now I'm looking at $10,300 in open lines of credit. So I can honestly tell you I didn't have that good of a credit score. I might have had, since I had credit-wise, I think I had somewhere around 680. So having heard my story and the limited amount of credit I was able to build, I was still able to get all three of these store cards. I still use them today. They're some of my favorite cards. They're great. So if you have a situation similar to mine, I think it's a very good chance that you'll be able to get these cards. And a question that I might have, or one that you would ask me in the comments section, but I'm going to answer it now. It is true that it is harder to get approved for credit cards these days, and that's exactly why I'm doing this video and suggesting these credit cards, because they tend to be pretty easy and generous for people that were in my situation. I know it's 4 years ago. So rather than getting a $2,000 or $3,000 line of credit, you might end up getting somewhere between, if you were in my situation or a similar situation, you might get somewhere between $500 and $1,000 if they're being very picky and selective right now. That's still an approval, and all you need to do is use those lines responsibly, and you'll be able to get a better credit line later, maybe even after 6 months. So the important thing is to get yourself in the door and get that approval. And I still think that if you are in a similar situation to what mine was, you'll probably get approved, but for a lower credit line. And if you have experience with any of these 4 cards, let us know in the comments section if your story was very similar to mine or if it was completely different. I did this video today because I've done different videos in the past for bad and fair credit, and a lot of you are at this point building up your credit scores and you're getting closer to good credit right now, and because of that you're thinking, what other credit cards can I get once my credit score is a little bit better? And these 4 store credit cards that I talked about today are a really good next step up. As I said before, they don't have annual fees, and a lot of them offer rewards. So if I've helped you with this video today, I'd appreciate it so much if you could hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to CreditFast, hit that bell notification, and I'll see you next time.